Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. Trump's sentencing is postponed indefinitely, New York judge says. It had been scheduled for November 26. I guess the deep state decided, hey, why are we dicking around in courtrooms? We can just start World War III.
Yep. On to Plan B.
New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan has delayed indefinitely sentencing in President-elect Donald Trump's business records case, raising questions about the future of the prosecution and whether sentencing will even take place. Sentencing was initially scheduled for July, but was postponed until November 26. In an order on November 22nd, Merchan said that he was granting a request to adjourn that sentencing date. After Trump's election win earlier this month, Merchan stayed deadlines in the case until November 19th, when Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office told him it supported postponing the sentencing date. A letter dated November 19th also showed that Trump's attorneys wanted Merchan to dismiss the case. Merchan on November 22nd set a deadline of December 2nd for Trump's motion, with the response from Bragg's office due, so they may even dismiss the whole thing. IKEA would have made more of a strong case against Trump, but here's what Fox News had to say.
And I can tell you three main takeaways at this point from Judge Juan Merchan. He is allowing Trump's lawyers to file a motion to throw out the case. He is also agreeing to delay the sentencing, which was originally set for November 26th, which is next Tuesday. And he is also pushing back a decision to throw out the case on the grounds of presidential immunity. That's something that Trump's lawyers have really pushed for, because remember, during this trial, there was evidence that was presented by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's office that related to and included time during President Trump's first term in office. So prosecutors earlier this week requested that the sentencing be postponed until after Trump's second term. So the judge is agreeing to postpone the date. Again, still just going through this just dropping right now, Jillian. So we're trying to find if there's actually a date that we can look forward to for the sentencing. Trump's lawyers are expected to continue filing appeals to throw this case out. Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, also his pick for Deputy Attorney General, has argued that the will of the people in selecting Trump as our next president should supersede the political ambitions, in his view, of Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. So we will see exactly what comes of this. We're, again, just kind of going through this right now, Jillian. Trump was found guilty of 34 felonies for falsifying business records. And as we dig through this a bit more, we'll bring it to you live here on air.
So that's the case of where they said he overinflated the value of his property to get a better loan. And, the thing everyone does. And then the bank
they massaged it to be felonies instead of misdemeanors.
Yeah, and then the whole slew. It's something that every real estate agent does everywhere, in every city in the country, and not the world. You know, it's like when you go in to buy a used car. They go, well, how much for the car? The guy inflates the price. He starts high. You go low. You meet in the middle. That's what happened. The bank did their due diligence. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll give you the loan. They made money. There's no victim. And the bank says they want to do business with them again because they made money.
I mean, coming back to our conversation earlier, Twitter certainly overinflated their valuation when they charged $44 billion for it. Don't see any federal cases there.
And just so in case you think the right and left lines are so clearly drawn on TV news, Fox News said Trump was guilty of 34 felonies. That's okay. I know for a lot of people on the left, that's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real, but
no. Fox News is just as rhino as the rest of them most days.
Donald Trump Jr. tweets out, huge win in Manhattan DA case, sentencing canceled. The judge also apparently asked to file papers to dismiss the case. Another one bites the dust.
Yep.
LFG.
I wonder if it's because they're worried that they are doing illegal things and they're going to get prosecuted for this prosecution, or if they're just throwing it out because they don't think it can go through.
I wonder.
I wonder if there's some fear involved there. I wonder how Alvin Bragg is feeling right now, and Fannie Willis is feeling right now.
Fannie Willis got exposed as being a big liar and just as corrupt, and that video of her saying she's never going to have sex with a relationship or sex with someone who works for her, and then she had sex in a relationship with someone who works for her, overpays that guy. That guy ends up lying on the stand. It's unbelievable what happened.
Unbelievable.
Laura Loomer says, well, here's the twist, Ian. While it's wonderful news that Judge Juan Merchan has canceled President Trump's sentencing date of November 26 indefinitely, we still need to push for a judiciary GOP for accountability. Both Lauren Merchan and her, so that's the judge's daughter, and her business partner, Mike Nellis, both of whom worked for Kamala Harris, have ignored 3 subpoena requests from Jim Jordan. For some reason, Jim Jordan doesn't want to enforce the law. When you ignore a subpoena, you're supposed to go to jail. They put lots of people around Trump in jail for that, including Bannon.
Yep.
Are we going to be getting any accountability at all? Happy to see the sentencing date is adjourned, but want to see anyone in the House GOP pushing for accountability. Is he above the law? House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan has subpoenaed the CEO of a political consulting firm that employs the daughter of the New York judge expected to sentence former President Donald Trump next. This is an old tweet. Jordan informed Authentic Campaign's CEO Michael Nellis of the subpoena on Wednesday in a letter accusing him of failing to comply with prior requests for information from House Republicans related to the firm's work with Trump's political adversaries. And they didn't. And so here, as such, the committee is left with no choice but to resort to compulsory process, Jim Jordan wrote. Popularly elected prosecutors such as Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg have engaged in an unprecedented abuse of authority by prosecuting a former president of the United States and current nominee for that office. Of relevance to the committee's oversight is the impartiality of Judge Juan Merchan, the presiding trial judge, due to his refusal to recuse himself from the case in light of his apparent conflicts of interest and biases. Lauren Meechan, the judge's daughter, is the president and minority partner of Authentic Campaigns, whose top client includes Representative Adam Schiff, who is the lead prosecutor in Trump's first impeachment trial, and the Senate Majority PAC, a major Democratic Party fundraiser. One such conflict is Ms. Meecham's, daughter of Judge Meecham and president of Authentic Campaigns, work on behalf of President Trump's political adversaries and the possible financial benefit that Ms. Merchan and Authentic Campaigns received from the prosecution and conviction of President Trump. Jordan wrote, noting that he has gleaned from public reports that both Nellis and Lauren Merchan were closely involved in the presidential campaigns of both President Biden and Vice President Harris. Come on. Okay, how about let's
for thee, but not for me.
Let's do it this way. Show of hands, who is here not associated with Jeffrey Epstein? All right, come on. During Ms. Merchan's employment with Harris campaign, Authentic Campaigns received over $7 million in compensation for its services, the Ohio Republican said. Nellis also worked for then presidential candidate Harris, and it appears you continue to do so. Authentic Campaigns conducted work for the 2020 Biden-Harris campaign and, according to public records, was paid just over $2 million in a 1-month period for its work. So this is the hush money,
Yep.
Yeah. So apparently Trump paid off a porn star he had sex with to hush about it. Bill Clinton paid off Paula Jones for $850,000. They told a press conference and told everybody they did it.
Yeah, the video's on YouTube.
I know. I showed it on the show. Like, what? How is this a scandal?
Not to mention that we have Bill Clinton actually sleeping with minors while he was the president of the United States, engaging in the services of Jeffrey Epstein. And that dude is not only not being prosecuted, he's being touted as a representative of the Harris campaign, as though he had any moral authority to stand on.
So Astral Defense tweets out and says, Steve Bannon went to jail. Peter Navarro went to jail. Paul Manafort went to jail. Roger Stone went to jail. Alan Weisberg went to jail. Rick Gates went to jail. George Papadopoulos went to jail. What do they have in common? They all work for the Trump campaign.
Yeah. But it's crazy because I would assume that liberals are going to be looking at this pushing off of the sentencing of Trump and probably letting the case drop. And they're going to look at that and say, look, see, Trump gets away with everything. And the justice system is skewed. And now Trump is going to engage in lawfare. And it's so unfair, which just is unbelievable.
You take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
Okay. I have another one. Let me see what this is on my soundboard. It's a new one.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been.
Oh, Kamala Harris will live forever.
I've got 2 more.
You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
And one more. Let's see.
That is not a joke. That's a straight fact.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have, I was actually planning, I don't necessarily have to anymore, but if Kamala got elected, I was planning on changing my bio to comedian to try to stave off going to jail for reporting on the news.
Oh, okay. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So, and what bothers me is when I had people on like Cornel West, who I respected so much before he came on my show.
Yeah.
And I pointed out to him that they're doing lawfare against Donald Trump. And if they could do it to Donald Trump, former president of the United States, then they could do it to Bernie Sanders. They could do it to Jill Stein. They could do it to you if you become a threat. Yeah. They'll do it. That's just why you need to stand up when they're doing it to someone who's your enemy, because they're eventually going to use it against you. And he called me a Trumper. He said, I think you like Donald Trump more than you let on. No, I like the law. I like democracy way more than you do, Cornel West.
Yeah.
Way more. Because I'm not a coward, and I'll stand up and I'll call this bullshit out. Because if they can do it to him, they can do it to anybody. And this is exactly what the establishment does.
Yeah. And that used to be a common principle of democracy in America, that we have freedom of speech for the people we disagree with, not for us. We have these protections are for the people that we don't admire, because when they come for one person, which is funny too when we talk about Israel and the ADL and such too. It's like that's the whole point, is like they came for them, and why didn't you stand up, right? It's like you have to stand up for everyone's rights, because the moment you let them do it to one person, they can do it to everyone.
That's exactly right. Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com.